Coming up next on Forbes.com Video Network, what's it like to skydive with President George Bush Sr.? We'll ask jump expert Chris Needels, who has done it twice. More when we return.
We are moments away from three-time bronze medalist Hans Wegebauer's historic jump over Copper Gorge.
2004.
Honey, check this dude out.
There's no room for error. And we've got liftoff. Where'd he go? He was there and then, poof.
Life comes at you fast. When it does, nobody covers your boat like Nationwide. Investments, retirement, insurance.
Nationwide is on your side.
Hello again, I'm Forbes Adventure columnist Jim Clash. Our guest, Chris Needels, is the Executive Director of the U.S. Parachute Association. He's not only an accomplished skydiver himself, having done thousands of jumps, but twice has been George Bush Sr.'s tandem jump mate in 1997 and 1999. Welcome, Chris. It's a pleasure to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I got to say, you've skydived with President George Bush Sr. What about security? What is that like? How do you prepare for something like that?
You know, I had no idea for the first jump how it was going to go. And the Secret Service at first wanted to jump with me, which meant I had to train Secret Service as well as the President. But then it came to mind, what exactly are 2 or 3 student tandem or free fall jumpers going to do to help the President for 45 seconds in free fall? So we decided we'd keep the Secret Service in the airplane and on the ground, and I'd take care of them in the middle.
So tell us what happened. Tell me about the first jump in '97.
It turned out that President Bush was at a Parachute Industry Association symposium, and I happened to be there just totally coincidentally, ran into each other, and he didn't know when I worked in the White House and he was the president that I skydived. And when he saw me, he said, I think I'd like to make a skydive. In fact, he called me at the hotel room the next morning and 6 o'clock and said, I want to make a skydive. Can you come and take care of me? 6 weeks later, it was history. We took him out.
And it wasn't a tandem jump. He jumped on his own, right?
No, that's exactly. We showed him the method. You could do it tandem, where you have somebody strapped onto your back, so under one parachute, and or static line, or do an accelerated free fall, which is where he does it by himself. We just simply go out and hold on to him to make sure he's stable, but he comes in and opens his own parachute. He said, that's what I want to do.
So what altitude did you jump from?
13,000 feet.
Wow, and how long are you in free fall?
About 60, 70 seconds.
So you cover, what, 10,000 feet in that
yeah.
time? That's amazing. Did his cheeks flap like anybody else?
They did, and when he saw the pictures, he said, oh, I didn't know I was going to look like that, but we all look like that in free fall.
Even the president.
Yeah, 120 miles an hour, your face is going to flap.
Yeah, yeah. Which brings to mind now, he did a regular jump without a tandem. Now, tandem jumping's become very popular. When I did my first jump, it was a tandem jump. Tell our viewers what that is and why it's become so popular.
Yeah. Well, tandem's enormously popular. We do about 350,000 of them a year. And people like it because it's really, in a way, it's a ride in a carnival or at a show. Because you don't really have to do anything. You just go out, you keep your hands and feet out of the way while you leave the airplane.
Because you're strapped to an instructor.
You're strapped to an instructor on your back. He has the parachute.
Right.
So you don't have to do anything. You just kind of waddle to the door and you just both go out together, and then you put your arms out and you just enjoy the ride. You have a videographer in front of you who's taking pictures.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you remember that? Yeah. And you're waving and smiling. Meanwhile, the instructor on your back, he's checking altimeter. He's doing everything that you would do normally on a skydive if you did it by yourself. And he comes in and he opens the parachute for you, and you both land together. And
so he sort of helps you land, which has been a problem with some people where they break their leg or something like that.
Not very often. They're very big parachutes, and you're landing very, very slowly.
Talk a little bit about the risks with skydiving. I think people overestimate the risk. Do you have any statistics on how many people get hurt or die per million?
Yes, we do. We watch that very carefully because in the U.S. Parachute Association, safety is our #1 priority. So we watch the stats very, very closely, and we really have experienced an amazing decrease in fatalities over the years. It used to be that there would be 30 to 50 fatalities a year, and that's back when the sport was only a quarter or a third of the size that it is now. Now we're 3 or 4 times larger than we were then, and we're down to about 20 fatalities. In fact, this year we're at an all-time low for this part of the year. We've had 8 fatalities this year, very tragic, but 8 is a substantive decrease.
And eight fatalities per how many jumps?
That's it's about 3 million jumps a year. So, you know, it used to be that it would be 1 in 100,000. Mm-hmm. Now it's getting much better than that. That's a lot of jumps, 3 million a year.
Sure, sure. You know, a couple of years ago, I interviewed Joe Kittinger, who holds the world record for the highest parachute jump ever, 103,000 feet out of a helium balloon. Do you know about the record, A, and B, will it ever be broken by anyone?
I certainly do. I know Joe Kittinger, great guy,
yeah, he is,
and he set the record. And there are some attempts right now to put together a record.
Really?
But it's really going to be a tough one because he went just so high.
Yeah, and he had a spacesuit on
Sure.
and oxygen and all that, and I know that he told me he broke the speed of sound on the way down.
He did, yeah.
Which is just pretty amazing because the air's so thin.
Yeah.
Who is trying to do it? Do you know of any of
I do. One of our best-known female skydivers, Cheryl Stearns, is a member of the Army parachute team. She is putting together an attempt, and she's doing the fundraising now. But it'll be interesting. It's an enormous, enormous challenge.
Yeah, yeah. I guess one final question. Do you think President George Bush Sr. will ever skydive again?
Well, I don't want to give out any secret information, but he has hinted that he will skydive again.
So if I'm a betting man, would I take that bet?
Yes.
Thanks, Chris. It's great. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, thank you.
Again, that was Chris Needels. I'm Forbes adventurer Jim Clash. Check out my column in Forbes magazine or click on Forbes.com/adventurer. And thanks for watching the Forbes.com Video Network.